The media has been regarded as a dispatcher of scary and depressing news, which, if tuned into, I'm talking about the TV in this instance, especially at the early hours of the morning, could make or mar one's day. It is on this note that I welcome you to Let's Talk on DNT Work. I am Olujoke Mosaku, and the program, as usual, is Let's Talk. The topic for today is the media and its exigencies. And joining me to do this talk is Mr. Biodun Alabi. He is the Director, Current Affairs Division of News and Current Affairs Division of Ogun State Television, and a sport analyst. Stay tuned. So hello, Mr. Alabi. Thanks for joining me on this show today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, looking at the media and its exigencies, like there has been a lot of things going around with people, and people's perception about the media nowadays is beginning to call for attention, in the sense that some people will tell you when you wake up in the morning and what you see on TV can be very demoralizing. What would be your take on that?
I think it's a two-way thing. It really depends on the perspective those who are complaining talking from. For those of us that are in the media industry, the media practitioners, there is this general saying that it's only bad events that make the news. And so for us, we may not care too much about what people say about the kind of taste they get on in the media these days, whether on television or on radio or in the newspapers, because what is first and foremost paramount to you is the fact that you want to sell your medium. You want to sell. You want to get as much as possible viewership for your television. You want to get as much as possible viewership, listenership for your radio station, and you also want to get as much as possible readership for your newspaper or magazine, or you want to get as much as followership for your online medium. So for the practitioner, what makes the news will always be what traditionally has been making the news. The good, the bad, and the ugly, make the news. And so, but again, there is also the point that we must also regulate what we actually churn out to people. You can't say because very ugly things or unpleasant things are what make the news, then you forget about professionalism. And what do I mean? You are not If you are not supposed to actually show some pictures, maybe they are very, very horrible, to the public, then you must find a way of balancing between reporting the issue and then also protecting the issue of professionalism. For the practitioners, I think the responsibility that this poses for us, or the challenge it poses for us, is that we must find a balance between, reporting events or issues or promoting materials that are injurious to the sensibilities of the public. But it's important that while we also do that, we cannot also lose focus. And the focus is about your spirit of competitiveness. For instance, if a TV station that is your competitor is reporting the fact that, for instance, someone commits a very gory murder, like today in Abeokuta, where I'm speaking from, the capital city of Ogun State, Nigeria, and as a television station, we are not reporting it, or we have not recorded the situation as it happened. And another TV station that's in Abeokuta, is reporting it, and it has also taken the pictures as the event happened. Then that station is beating you to what is news. So basically, as practitioners, we are always faced with that challenge. But most importantly is the fact that the public will always complain. I mean, just like the question you have raised, the public will always complain. They will always say, "Oh, what you see every morning on television, are gory pictures of killings, of kidnapping, rape, and all of that." But unfortunately, those are the things that make the news, especially in our society, because if you don't report them, then you are not really correcting issues like that, because there are a whole lot of issues that have to do with that a lot of ugly incidents that happen in society and that don't get reported, and because they don't get reported, nobody is reprimanded, and if nobody is reprimanded, then those issues, activities, they go on and on and on and on. So the job of the media is always to report those activities, those issues, so that they can be corrected, so that the public and the society can be told that, oh, these activities, these acts are not good, and so the media must always, rise above sentiments, because for me, I think it's purely sentiments for people to say that, oh, what you see in the morning, there are pictures that are not really, really good to the sights of the people and all of that. I think the most important thing is for the media practitioners to just find a way of regulating them, balancing between reportage of events, news, and acts, like that fall into the category of what we're talking about, and ensuring that they don't injure the sensibilities and the emotions of those that are consumers of our job. Mm.
Now, going again to still talking about the media and people's perception about the news and all. Now we have what we call fake news. What is fake news and what is it not? Because this is something that is very, very new. It's recent. Because for so many years of media and one working with it, working as a media person, I've never really heard someone call news fake. Is it as a result of the social media, or how would you define that?
You may not really be wrong totally, because with the advent of social media, there are a whole lot of news materials that fly around and that people believe easily. Sometimes some of them are true, some are outrightly untrue, and some are ill motivated. Sometimes in a deeply political environment like ours here in Nigeria, you get to read about some stories that are blatantly not true, stories that are trumped up, motivated um, you know, by by the need to actually get somebody down, maybe the ruling political party or one individual and all of that. I think that's where the coinage comes from, fake news. Yeah, truly. I mean, for me too, in my 20 years of practice, I think it's only in recent times, in the last 1 or 2 years, that I began to hear something like fake news. I never got to hear anything about fake news, not until recently. So for me, I think it depends on individual's definition, where the story is coming from. But you see, if you check very well, you discover that most of what people refer to as fake news are news that center around the political space, especially here in Nigeria. And so, if those pieces of news are not, positive for the government of the day or for somebody that is in power, such a person is likely to term those news materials as fake news, because they don't favor him, they don't favor his policies,
Okay.
and sometimes maybe some maybe some investigative journalism have been done, and then some dirty things have been revealed about that person or about his government or about his individual, his person. The person will term that to be fake news. So I think it's more of a Nigerian development. I do not think
Not just Nigeria. I think it's something that is everywhere because it stemmed from somewhere precisely. That someone somewhere just talked about fake news, and then every other nation of the world began to follow suit. It's not just Nigeria, it's kind of everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Definition of fake news in the USA or in the UK, I mean, essentially in advanced European countries may be different from what is termed as a fake news in Nigeria. If you check properly. So that's what I'm saying. Of course, fake news could be fake, could truly be fake news in advanced European countries. But if you come to Africa, like Nigeria, for instance, with all our diverse cultures, with all our primordial politics sentiments, ethnicity, and all of that. You want to tarry a while before you join people to say, oh, this particular news item is a fake news. You want to read over and over again. You want to check over and over again. And that is why, for those of us that are in this industry, before if you're trying to package a particular news bulletin, and you're looking for items from here and there, you don't. There are some materials that you get, and you want to wait a little bit before you call them, before you write them out and say, okay, you want to use. You want to go to some credible media organizations, to their platforms, to check whether they have such stories. And so if you go there and they don't have such stories, then you want to quickly leave such a story out. So I think the awareness is also growing among the Nigerian media too, Nigerian media practice. Because I know here, where I work, we don't just put any story on air anymore. We have to check and recheck, especially when the story is a very sensitive one. So, but of course, in the society, generally speaking, it is still widespread, especially among the Nigerian people. Generally because of ignorance of people. It's not everybody that has an Android phone that you could say is literate enough. People see they just get Android phone and they latch on different news networks and all of that, and what they see they spread and all of that. So for us, for practitioners, I think it's our business, it's our job to find a way of ending the issue of fake news. But I think the Nigerian government too is also very much aware of this, and that's why fake news, the issue of fake news in quotes, has become a very big one for the Nigerian government. And so I know they, at some point too, they've actually said so much about it that anybody that spreads fake news will be reprimanded, sanctioned, and all of that. And so I think, but if media organizations are in the lead, they are in the lead, or in the vanguard of ending, the growth of fake news in our society, I think it will really be better for all of us, because we are the ones that people watch.
Now, everyone has become a journalist, like we discussed earlier on social media. I want you to please reiterate the vision of our founding fathers, or should I say, the ancient landmark of broadcasting, journalism, and the media as a whole.
Oh well, if we say everybody has become a journalist, I don't think that is strange, because I mean things have. I mean, there is this popular saying that the only thing that is constant in life is change. So things are changing. Technologies, I imagine. I mean, we look at what we're doing now. So many years ago, we would not have been able to do this. So if technologies are changing operations of the media, certainly everybody will become a journalist. These days, I mean, we used to have photojournalists. Cameramen are also journalists. Yes, you may have a cameraman that may not be able to write a story, but with his pen and paper, but he could write a story with his video. So he's also a journalist. So it means that if you have somebody who goes to town and sees a collapsing bridge or a collapsing electricity pole and uses his telephone, Android telephone, to record the collapsing bridge or the collapsing electricity pole and send it to OGTV or to channels or to TVC, or to send it to journalists with a particular organization. But the person has been able to use this initiative to correct a particular ill in that society, because the following day, because of that video, those authorities may now swing into action and say, oh, we saw a video of a collapsing bridge at Lafewa sent by somebody yesterday. Then we need to go there and fix it. So I don't think it's total out of place. In fact, it should be an addition, to the development of journalism in the world.
Now, if the media is supposed to serve the public interest, why then should it be judged or penalized for doing the needful?
Well, there's always a line, between doing it professionally and doing it unprofessionally or maliciously. I mean, times without numbers, we've seen so many media organizations, go outside of professional practices, and of course they are reprimanded. I think it should be a sense of responsibility for us to always do what is right in this profession. Yes, we have a whole lot of private media organizations these days, whose interests you can't even determine. But then for credible media organizations, the ones that have been around for quite some time, the big ones, the responsibility can never, change. We must find a way of delivering to the public what is genuine, what is authentic, what is original. You cannot say because you want to make money or you want to retain your viewership, then you continually, throw to the public stories that are untrue, stories that are malicious, and doing them in a very unprofessional way. So there is always that line of between. In fact, there is a wide line between professionalism and unprofessionalism.
So, what would be your advice to people who are really counting on the media to get the most eligible news, and those who feel that tuning on to the TV in the morning and the first thing they're saying is, oh, there's this there, there's that there, especially during the COVID-19 period that we're still passing through right now? Hearing the number of cases every day can be very, very disturbing. Would you say that, what would you say to them? They should get used to it or what?
Well, for this period, I think they should just get used to it. We are in COVID-19 period, and it's a global pandemic. I don't think there's any way OGTV, for instance, will report anything different from what channels NTA or TVC will report if the curve of COVID-19 keeps going up in Nigeria. I don't think, because people also want to get to know you. You need to also create awareness and let them know that it is real. Because here in Nigeria, some people don't believe COVID-19 is real, and the only way you can make it real to them is by reporting cases, on a daily basis. So I think people will need to get used to, this period until it lasts. And it doesn't happen like that every time. It's not every time that the first news item you see on television in the morning or hear on the radio in the morning or on the front pages of newspapers are unpleasant stories. There are some occasions that, you know, very pleasant stories, news, and events are, first reported in every bulletin. So I do not totally believe that people should use this period as a benchmark. They should just see it as a period that has come and it will go. Now, to my advice to them is that there's a freedom for you to switch from one station to the other. I mean, in the days when I was growing up, we didn't have remote control, and so you could sit down in front of your TV and you are stuck to a particular TV station because you can't change that station to another one because probably that's the only station you can pick in your area or you could pick in your area. But these days, because of technology, you could watch in a space of 10 minutes what is happening, in 30 different stations, even beyond your locality. As long as you have your remote control, your control with you, you can always move from one station to the other. So if this station is particularly station A is running a program or giving you some news events that you don't particularly like, or you don't even like their style of reporting events, you could move on to another one. And that is why people say these days that people don't watch television anymore; they watch programs. So I think it's as simple as that. Even for radio stations, you're driving home or you're driving to work and you are listening to a particular radio station, and the program they are giving you at that point in time is not the program that you like, you could switch to another station. Just for newspapers, you can refuse to buy a particular newspaper because of their style. If you know that they are pro something or they are anti something, then you refuse to buy. You may decide to even not buy any paper at all. Because newspapers, whatever newspapers report these days, are things that you also see online, on your telephone, on the internet. So there's a wide choice, there's a multiplicity of choice now for people across the world, to choose from. So nobody is stuck to a particular medium anymore, because technology have advanced. You can change, you can leave, you can refuse to buy a decoder of a particular company, medium. If you don't want them anymore, you go for another one. As long as you could afford it. So that's just my advice.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alabi. I'm really, really very grateful.
Pleasure.
Okay, and for you out there who feels anytime you tune into any of the TV stations, you get to see gory events, ensure to just turn to the next station if you can afford to watch that. And also, the media is actually out there to inform you of the happenings around. So that don't take it out on us. We are only trying to do our jobs. And please do me a favor. I would like you to actually follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel on YouTube, and follow and like me on Facebook. You can always see me on Twitter too. Yes, I'm on Twitter, and it's indeed wonderful. And on LinkedIn, I'm also there. I think I'm everywhere right now. So just do me a favor, follow my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, like the videos, try and share the videos. Until next time, I remain Olujoke. Bye for now.